This is going to be an uncomfortable video for some people, but the message is something that can help you massively in your life, and it will help you to live more connected to yourself and be more confident and be more happy about your life overall. Because in today's society and the way that we grow up in today's society and the way that we live through social media and just the overall the way that everything is so connected and we're so used to other people's opinions, it's almost like we are growing into a society where we put up a facade so much that we lose connection with who we truly are. And what I wanted to talk about is that people treat you the way that you treat yourself. And what I mean by that is you probably don't deserve what you think you deserve. And I'm not saying you're not worth anything or that you don't deserve what or just like um basic things and like have healthy relationships and like have people support you or whatever or that you're less worth. I don't want it to sound like that. But what I mean is that through social media and through this training, like we train ourselves and we start to become so uh we start to live in a fantasy world where we see things online or we hear opinions from other people or we hear people talk about things and what life is and what life isn't. Like there's so many opinions today that so many people start having this sense of entitlement, and we think that we deserve things, and we think that people should just treat us with a certain amount of respect and admiration and like it's almost like society today is training people to have narcissistic traits. Everything is about likes, validation, how much you're liked, and the image that everybody puts up. It's all this like facade of who we are. And what I mean by you probably don't deserve or you're probably not as good as you think you are. I'm not trying to mock you or trying to like break your self-respect or anything, but I want the world to be more transparent, more true, more honest. Because if you don't introspect and become self-aware of yourself, and I've done this myself, like if you don't really pay attention to your own actions and what you put out in the world, you have this sense of entitlement and a sense of self that is distorted and it's not in touch with reality. And even though you, as a human and as a person, deserve respect and admiration and being who you are, you cannot force people to see you for something that you're not. You get my point? Like you cannot force people to respect you. You have to earn it. And I think that's the biggest issue in today's society, that people just want stuff so easily. We want people to just admire us in the easiest way possible. And on social media and on online, it's so easy to use filters. We use the best photos. We use the best moments, and we put up this facade. And we keep building that facade internally in our minds about this is who we are in the world. So when you go out in the world and you actually meet people, that's the image that you have of yourself, even though it's online, even though it's on social media. You you build that version of yourself inside of yourself. It's not that you're disconnected, even though you consciously or mentally can think that this is not who you really are, and you know that you're putting on a facade or a front, or you're kind of showing the best sides to people, you can't lie to yourself about, or even if you know that yourself, you still put up that facade in the world, and you have to almost live the lie, so to speak, around real people in the real world. And that's what I mean by so many people um, are not as good as they think they are. They don't really deserve what they think they deserve, and it sounds really bad, but I'm just trying to be honest here, and I'm trying to tell you that it's a paradox in and of itself, because the more that you try to be perfect, the more miserable you're gonna feel. Like you cannot fake you. You can fake yourself and put on a facade to the world, but you cannot fake yourself to yourself. You know what's true on the inside. And the more that you push these things down about who you are and what you like, let's say what you're insecure about and what you're struggling with, like you don't have to go out and tell everybody. I'm not saying that, but you don't have to paint this picture of like, look, I'm so perfect, because the more you do that, the more you got to keep that up. So when you meet people in the real life, and you just have a normal interaction, you're stressing about them figuring out that you're not the person that you portray yourself to be online, or in the real world. Like, I'm not saying it's only online, but that's where most of it comes from. And like I said, it's paradoxical, but the more that you let go of all this like pressure on yourself to perform, to be somebody that you're not, to act like somebody you're not, the more pressure you have in those areas, like the more miserable you're gonna feel. And the more that you let go of all of it, the easier it is for you to just be, to just live, and to actually feel confident, because you're not lying anymore. You don't have any lies to hold up. So when people ask you about something, who you are, or whatever it is, you're just confident because you don't have anything to hide. If you're insecure about something, you just own it. You just, like, you don't have to say it, but you just own it. You just know that if that question comes, like, you have no problem just saying it like it is. Because why would you care about hiding it? Because if you surround yourself with people who would judge you from or because of who you are, you don't want to be with those people. And like, once you realize this, once you just see life, or not life, but I guess it's a big part of life. Once you see this for what it is, that so many people are just lying to themselves about who they are, and what they are, and what they like and everything, to protect themselves from the judgments of others. It's so easy to see that, like, most people just live their whole life in a delusion and a fantasy world where you can see that they're miserable. But so many people look to these people and think that they have it all figured out. They think that they're so perfect because, like, we see the images online that they have a fit body, they have, I don't know, money or status, or they have something that just looks so fulfilling to us. And we project our own insecurity about ourselves onto them, and we think that they're so perfect. We just we perceive things from our own insecure mind about ourselves. Like, when you see someone online and you start going like, "Oh, I wish I was like that." No, you don't, because you're just putting your emotion onto them. You are telling yourself that this person must feel good, but you don't know. They could be miserable. And that's the whole paradox. So many of these people that you perceive to be happy and to have this quote unquote perfect life are just miserable. They don't feel good. They don't feel confident at all. And I'm not trying to mock them. I'm not trying to say that I'm better, but I'm just saying that the image that people put out, there's a reason that they put out that image. Because if you truly don't care, if you're truly just good with yourself, you don't need to put stuff out like that. You don't need to show the perfect stuff. And life is so much better when you're not trying to act perfect, when you're just being you. You're being the version of yourself that is just authentic, that is just real, and you surround yourself with real people who also want to be authentic and real and not hide and not, there's so many games in society. There's so many almost like rules you have to follow. Like you can't do this, or if you do that, then people will think this, or and it's exhausting. It's really exhausting. And once you start just being you authentically and you start surrounding yourself with people who are the same way, you just feel this tension being released, and you're just like, oh, this is it's just comfortable. It's just so freeing. It's like you don't realize, or you start realizing how much thought you put into worrying about people or worrying about the world and what everybody thinks, and about yourself, and you start noticing all these tiny things that you did to hide parts of yourself. You started wearing clothes this way, or you started walking this way, you started liking these posts, or you started following these people, or you started hanging in these places, or wearing makeup this and this way, or like style your hair in a specific way. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. Like, we hide so many things, and we start perceiving it as part of our personality in the end. Like, we hide so much, and then it becomes our identity, and we're so much in the fantasy that we justify these things as just being me. Like, it's just me. That's just something I do. No, it's not. It's a pattern that you've learned in order to hide parts of yourself because you're insecure about these parts. But like I said, it's a paradox, the whole thing, because you want to paint this perfect picture to people of who you are and what you're like, and you want people to think this exact thing of you. But you have to realize that people will think what they think. It's the same way, like when you look at people and you think that they're happy, that's you putting that onto that person. That's you thinking that they're happy. You haven't asked them if they're happy. You don't know if they're happy. That's just how we work as humans. We just perceive things the way that we feel internally. So you cannot control what people think about you. You cannot control the outcome of their perception of you. The only thing that you can do is show them who you are. And when you do it in an unauthentic way, where you have a facade and you try to show everything is so perfect, blah, 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 yeah, they might think that you are quote unquote perfect, like, even though it's a silly word. But if it's not true, it's not you. And they will know you from an unauthentic place in yourself. They will not know the real you, and you will feel lonely around those people because you cannot be yourself. You cannot talk about what you really want to talk about. You cannot show the different parts of you that are actually you, that are not just a facade, like I said. And it's just sad how everybody's just hiding, hiding, hiding because everybody is just living in the same bubble of a distorted vision of ourselves and an illusion of what we should be. When in reality, I know it's hard, but it's really simple. I mean, metaphorically speaking, it's very simple to just be you. And that is what makes life simple after you start acknowledging that and start actually being you. You stop hiding, you just are. You just live life from your core, and you don't live from a fragile ego. You don't live from like a survival standpoint. And the sad part is when you live from this fragile ego, you don't live. You just stress. You stress about life. You stress about opinions and people and things, and everything is just like centered around you and yourself. And the funny thing is, you want to be perfect, and you want to show off as perfect, and that you're a good person. But in reality, the more that you worry about yourself, the more narcissistic traits you have. Even though, like, I wouldn't say that people are narcissistic per se, but you start having this sense of self, or you're so obsessed with yourself that you don't live from a place where you're like seeing other people, because that's what life is about. Life is not about walking around and worrying about you all the time, worrying about what you think and what people think of you. Start living for other people. Start living from an energy where you give out, where you don't think so much about your own energy, but you actually give it out. You live from love and you live from abundance, and you give your energy to people instead of asking people what they think about your energy. Just give it out, and people will see your energy, you know? Um and yeah, it's a sad reality. Like, this is society today, and this is what we almost train ourselves to be. We keep feeding this loop, but you have the choice to step out of the loop, and you have a choice to face the parts of yourself that are uncomfortable, and you just have to get to a point where you're fed up with yourself almost. The more that you hide, the more you're going to feel anxious or depressed or lonely or sad or, yeah, bored. But try to lean into those feelings, and then just get to a point where you're like, I'm done feeling this way. I'm done living my life for other people. I'm done hiding parts of myself. I just want to be free. Because the more you connect to that, the easier it is to actually live it and to just embrace it. So yeah, it's uncomfortable, and also, like I said, you probably don't deserve, um or you're probably not as good as you think you are. What I meant by it is that the more that you worry about yourself and think about me, the less you really deserve, because it's all about you. Start living from abundance where you give unconditionally. Like, don't play games with people. Don't think about, if I do this, then this person needs to do that. Don't play games with people. Don't live from this, like, don't live with tactics, and don't fall into other people's tactics. Just be you, and be happy about who you are, and be comfortable with who you are. And you don't have to stress or worry about these things anymore. You don't have to keep thinking so much. You don't have to go out and worry. You don't have to check your phone. You don't have to check social media. You don't have to check likes. Like, there's so much stuff. Just think about it yourself. Try to reflect about your life. Try to reflect and really pay attention to the things that you do every day, that you the habits that you think um, are just normal, try to really reflect on why you do certain things and why you do what you do. And you will see that a big part of what you do in or your habits in everyday life is about these things. And the quicker you become self-aware and just realize what it is and change and just embrace yourself, the better your life will be. And the less you have to worry, the less you worry, the more space you have inside of yourself to actually be happy, to be grateful, and to not worry, and to replace those feelings and thoughts with positive thoughts, and be there for other people instead of thinking about yourself. Yeah, that was the video today. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.